Welcome, everyone, to Healing Wednesdays and the Circle of 12. I am Lee Carroll.
And I'm Monica Morani.
Well, indeed, we are back every Wednesday evening of the year. We come together with special guests, questions and answers, discussions, meditations, and, of course, cry and channeling. Well, there are replays for you in case there are any internet issues. We want to tell you that because sometimes we have new people, sometimes we forget. Watch the replay of this program in about an hour after the show. It's a perfect recording.
Something that interests me, near and dear to my heart, is the index, because I created it. But the reason I created that index is because it helps you navigate to the favorite program you have, or if you're new to this whole Healing Wednesday program, you're probably overwhelmed by just how many episodes are available to you in your library. And that's why the index is there. So you can just take a look and then you can choose, well, which is the replay that you want to watch based on the information that's in there. There is also special music from certain shows. There's special shows just for members, and there's an area for prayer requests and much more.
Now, for the members, all of the Healing Wednesday programs feature replays forever, as long as you're a member forever, and we never limit these to a certain cutoff point or date. So I encourage you to have a new look at these great features in this portal designed just for you.
So in that portal, you'll also find a place where you can submit a question. You can also go to cryonmasters.com/questions. Now, if you've been a member for a while, you already know the guidelines, which are very simple. Ask a question that others may be interested in. Keep those questions concise and short. And more importantly, Lee and I are not therapists. So those questions that we take, that we answer, are ones that we can report on from what Cryon has given us. So let's take a look at some of those questions. This one comes from Dukan. Dukan is in Turkey. And Dukan is asking, what is the best question to ask of Spirit? And I love that Dukan has then followed up that question with saying this. And what is the answer to that question?
Well, Dukan, there are going to be some people watching this right now who know about Cryon, who may think, I put you up to asking this question. This is a real question. It came from the list right as we gave it to you. There's even a Cryon parable about this exact question. It's in the Cryon Book 4, called The Parables of Cryon, published by Hay House many, many years ago. These same parables that are in that book are also presented free on my free YouTube channel as mini plays, read by actors and accompanied by music. By the way, since there's often a confusion on which Cryon YouTube channel is real or fake or authorized or accurate, just go to cryon.com/YouTube and take a look. That's my real one. You can find it in the playlist, and the playlist is called The Parables of Cryon, just like the book was. And the actual story, the actual parable, is called The Infant's Questions. Now, this is an exciting parable from years ago, and it's exciting to me because Cryon he channeled it, and he talks about it all the time. And it's exactly about the very question that you ask. Don't you love that? So, quickly. The parable is a story about a mother and her infant child. An angel appeared, and the male infant child of this parable, of this fortunate woman who had that child right there, the child received a gift. She couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. And here was the gift. For a few moments, the child could speak to his mother as a mature adult. What a miracle that was. So for these moments, the infant child could ask his mother any question he wanted. Wow, what an opportunity, a miracle. So what did he ask? Well, according to the parable, he started with this. Mother, as I look around me, I'm wondering, why is the sky blue? Now, the mother loved this interchange, but she was shocked by the question. This adult-minded infant had not grasped the profundity of the moment and was instead asking foolish questions, using up his precious time for this miracle. Then, according to the parable, more of these kinds of questions were asked, and finally, his time was up. So the child reverted to the infant mind at that time, and his mother was disheartened with the whole thing. He never asked anything that might actually help him in his later life or give him some greater wisdom. So the point of the parable is this: what should he have asked for? What would have been the best possible question for this child to have asked? Of course, this is all a metaphor, as the parables often are, and it's about us and spirit. We often spin in our own ignorance of our own magnificence, and we have no idea the best questions we might ask of God. So the answer from Cryon to this, the best question, the one that will always give the perfect information, is this one. Dear Spirit, what do I need to know right now for my life? Dear Spirit, tell me what it is I need to know for me right now. And the answer, since Dukhan asked, would be specific information or knowledge that is needed for you individually for that moment. Think about what we often ask of Spirit. Do we actually define our answers by how limited our questions are? Dear Spirit, what do I do about this person or that person or my situation? You know, you think about it, we often define the answers by specifying the questions. Listen, what if? What if the answer has nothing to do with those people or a situation? Dear Spirit, tell me what it is I need to know for me right now. Now, I'm sensing some additional questions by those who are hearing this perhaps for the first time. And here's the question: how do I hear those answers from Spirit? Here's the answer to that: by being quiet and expecting answers to be revealed or delivered by synchronicity and unexpected things, like new people you meet and new intuitions you have that you suddenly receive out of the blue. That's very, very real. That's the way it works, and it's happened to me and continues to all the time. Thanks, Dukhan, for a great and very current question.
What a great answer to that question. And we know for those who've been following Crying for a very long time, Dear Spirit, tell me what I need to know is always that go-to question. But I think that answer was able to pull out more information about the importance of asking Spirit that question, but also how we can receive the answer. I love that. Be in silence. Sit in quietness and be open to receive. The next question is from Krista, and Krista is in Vienna, Austria. She's asking, why is it that Cryon often refers to the USA as if there weren't any other country?
Krista, Cryon has sat in front of audiences in the thousands in many, many other countries, including yours, Austria. Each of these times, there were messages just for the citizens of those countries, given by carefully chosen local metaphysical translators. The Cryon books are printed in 23 languages, so there's no bias toward the USA. Cryon doesn't think the USA is the only country there is, and your question is the only time this has ever been asked in any forum. As you listen again to things that Cryon speaks about, sometimes there's often a message of my partner's country to qualify that it's the USA. So that's given to help the understanding for many who are listening from other countries. Sometimes the subject of the channeling is what is happening in my country, the USA, like, for instance, our elections. But then again, Cryon normally defines that so it's very clear. But I'm really not aware of any channeling ever given or a bias that would indicate a feeling that there are no other countries. Perhaps this is something you just heard about or were told. I invite you truly to listen again to the loving words of Cryon to see if what I'm saying is true.
And often we carry that bias of, I want to know about this, and if I hear something other than that, we tend to feel we're being ignored or left out.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
And it's obvious. I'm speaking in English and I'm in America, and so Cryon talks about sometimes, but if it's ever specific to our country, it's identified as such.
But I think what I love still is that you can still apply the wisdom of what Cryon is talking about to a broader situation.
Yeah.
So he might be, I remember that one where Cryon was talking about elections and things like that. And it's about sometimes what's the polarity we have, and can we still have our opinion but be kind to each other? So there's always a broader message within the context of that country or that issue that Cryon talks about.
That's right.
You can apply it outside of that.
Cryon usually brings it to a personal place.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So the next question comes from Margaret, and Margaret is in Nanaimo, Canada. What a beautiful area of the world you live in. Lee and I have had the pleasure of being in that exact spot. So love to everyone in Nanaimo. What an amazing town. She is saying, after enthusiastically crossing the veil each week and returning, I finally felt myself meeting my full soul. And so I invited it to return back across the veil with me. Could you expand on this, please?
Margaret, I'd love to expand on that. You're so current with this question. This was the very theme of all of last month's Circle of 12 experiences. So truly, the answer to your question is yes. You're supposed to bring it back with you, whatever you learned and more. What's fun about this for me is that the timing of it. We select the questions for these programs from a very long list, and it takes a while to sort through them, looking for a consensus of frequency and frequently asked subjects. So Margaret, she asked this just about the time we were working on taking things back with you on the Circle of 12. So if you understand, she was asking it when we were delivering it. This is an example of the field, which I spoke about in depth on the first program of this month. So the answer for Margaret and the others who are sensing this is that the entire point of the Circle of 12 is to come back with the ideas and the tools that you discover there. So don't just visit all the grand stuff and come back without it. That's church. I think you know what I mean. Some get dressed up for church. I used to get dressed up for church and get my spiritual fix for the week and then go home and revert to who I was before I went. Don't write me letters, but that's quite often the culture. So the whole purpose of the Circle of 12 is to absorb the energy of love and knowledge from Spirit into your own consciousness, period. So for those who are wondering about all this dialogue, and perhaps you missed last month, simply go to your spiffy new portal, there it is, new portal, and find the index for the June episodes on that great index that Monica has presented. All the Circle of 12 meditations were about bringing back whatever you experienced, bringing it back home with you. It's great, Margaret, and it's right on time. Thanks for showing everyone here about how the field works. I celebrate your life and your magnificent soul.
I love, Margaret, that you are already embodying everything that Cryon is hoping for us to do, is to go and touch the soul and bring it back with you.
Can I tell you that when you gave me that question, it was so funny because it was simultaneously at the time that Cryon was giving those messages during that month.
Yes.
And so I read it. I went,
I love that.
she hasn't heard this yet.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
how could she be there? That's the field.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. So we're going to do a meditation and then channel. And one of the things that came out in that question and answer section was the best question to ask Spirit, which was, Dear Spirit, tell me what I need to know. And then Lee postured that the next question that comes from that is, how do I hear what Spirit is asking? And we responded by saying to quiet your mind and to sit in silence. And I want to just add one more piece to that information, and that is when you become connected with your heart energy, when you create coherence between your pineal, your mind, your brain with your heart, and you slow your breathing, that creates a space of total relaxation within your body and a connection with the energy of your heart, which is always going to give you the answers that you seek. I think we can think of the heart as like a conduit for spirit, a conduit for intuition to come in and connect with you. So I invite you to close your eyes and place your awareness on the energy of your heart. And as you connect with the energy of your loving heart, you may even wish to acknowledge it, thank it, have gratitude that your heart is always with you, automatically beating in the background. It is deeply connected with your soul energy. It is deeply connected to your intuition. And as you soften your breathing to a place where you are inhaling, perhaps for a count of 4 or 5 beats, and then exhaling for an even slower count of 5 to 6 beats. You bring your awareness to your heart and to gratitude. And from that place, we ask that question, Dear Spirit, tell me what it is I need to know. And in that silence, let us turn our attention to the message from Cryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Cryon of Magnetic Service. What a time this is. If you heard the channeling from last week, I said these words, it's here. This is the shift. The one we told you was coming. This is the light coming to the planet, although it looks odd in so many ways. In these last 2 years, there's been a major shakeup of so many things. There have been decisions to make. How did you do? There have been so many things presented to you, and now it even continues, as I said it would. This is a time that you were born for. We gave a channel not too long ago. It had to do with that which you experienced even before you got here. We spoke of that beautiful consciousness of your soul before you ever get to this planet, deciding to come. And almost all of you listening to this program, even the ones who casually are listening, had a choice to come or not to come during a time that might be volatile. Those of you who are seniors, you had a choice, even during that which was the Cold War, thinking perhaps there would be truly a nuclear war, an Armageddon, the end of times, even that which was predicted, perhaps even by many scriptures, and you came anyway. And I told you that there was a chance, that the ancients had called it, that this precession of equinoxes that moves you into the 2000s instead of being the end would be the beginning. Did I ever mention to you that the ancients were enamored, you might say, over this time, this precession of the equinox time? They all had prophecies over it. And they all gave prophecies that could go either way. You see this even in that which is the Hopi prophecy rock. A split would occur. You would have a choice to go one way or another, just about now. This was foreseen. I told you about it and have been for many years. You knew this was going to happen before you got here, the potential of it going either way. And you came. That's why we love humanity so much. Those listening to this now, all of you, we know you're here and you're listening at whatever time you've chosen to see this. Knowing this, that the love you have for humanity, for the earth, for each other, you came, old soul, because you knew you could make a difference. This particular channel, last week's, and the ones to follow on this month will all have this one theme. It's here. It's time to start planting the seeds that you came with. Last week we told you it would be like a farmer who had one set of circumstances all his life, time to plant, time to harvest, and that something shifted on the planet energetically or maybe weather-wise that gave him a perfect scenario to plant and harvest like no other. And it gave him crops that lasted longer and were larger and more abundant, and it was amazing. Same seeds, perhaps. That is what is occurring now. Everything you did and tried in the old energy that was sacred, metaphysical, now can blossom in a way that never has been seen on the planet. If you've put this together, it had to be this way. For even though light comes out, and we call it light coming to this planet, what it changes is you. It doesn't fall upon the soil of the earth. It falls on you, old soul. And the tools that you came in with start to expand. This has been the theme, if you figured this out, for all of these years since 2012. This is the time. But suddenly it is in your face, as you would say, because the changing earth, the changing times are right here for you to see. Everything I told you, that when light starts to come out, the darkness objects. And that's what's going on. So it's time for those seeds you came in with to be planted. Now, this is a metaphor. Don't look for your seeds. The metaphor is this. You had them when you got here, truly. But you might say they were on the back shelf. You might have tried to trot them out and use them earlier on in an old energy, and there was disappointment. Disappointment. They simply didn't work the way you thought. You wanted to do this, write a book, build a healing center, do all of these things that were ingrained into you, old soul, and it didn't work. And now we tell you this, you did it too soon. Try again. Don't be daunted by it didn't work in the old energy. It's almost like you were on another planet, you tried it and it didn't work, and this is a new planet. This is a new world. This is one where the light is starting to come out and manifest itself right in the pockets of the old souls who are currently listening. What a deal. I want you to think for a moment. What is it that you would plant? There are many kinds of things. For yourself, perhaps. For others, perhaps. I will give you an axiom. The seeds of spirit are not things. They are concepts. So every seed that you carry, every one that you carry, that metaphor, the thing that you have, that you can then plant and manifest on this planet, is a concept. Now, some of these concepts are personal. But in planting the personal seeds, they harvest for the world. Let me explain that yet again. When you change, the things around you change. It's the example we have given many times of how the field works. What you have that changes in you affects everyone. And it's not just perhaps those around you in your family or your partnerships or your businesses. These things that you have, that you place upon yourselves and develop yourselves, go into a field that literally surrounds the planet. You might say that individually, you change something which is much, much greater and bigger. Individually, the drops in the ocean, they change what the ocean is. If you think about how many drops there are, or the salinity of them, or whatever, it happened many times for them to be what they are, but each single drop made a difference. It's different with the field because certain kinds of drops affect the field in a greater way than others. For instance, you'll say, well, there are those putting anger in the field. Yes, there are. And there are those putting compassion and kindness in the field. Yes, there are. So here's what I'll tell you that has been told to you over and over. One is greatly more powerful than the other. One is an emotion. The other one is magnificence. Can you guess which is which? It's time for you to plant something. Let me make a suggestion on what it might be. Each one of you are magnificent. Each one of you carry the attributes of mastery. What would it be like for you and the planet if you took out those seeds of mastery and planted them right now? And here's what you can think to yourself, or here's what you can conceive of. You can conceptualize this. The seeds are of your own mastery. I have defined what is involved in this. You think differently. You act differently. You're more mature. Things in your life start to change. You're more relaxed. And you start to plant those seeds right now. And you see yourself pushing them into the ground, covering them with dirt, watering them, and the sun is out now in a way it never has been before, and you start to see results almost immediately. The harvest happens simultaneously with the planting. That is extremely multidimensional. No time is involved, and immediately you start seeing the results in your own life. You've taken an action that you conceived of, mastery. What happens with mastery? Mastery is a slow development inside you of your magnificence. And you start to feel it. It comes through intuition, changes in the way that you see others, the changes on how you act when certain things take place, and what you see that you wish to do that might be different from last year or even last week. That's mastery. And what happens next is the start of something grand. As you begin to harvest that energy that you have planted, that you brought with you for this time, right now, when the light is starting to come out, that energy goes everywhere. It's designed to, dear ones, those seeds, those metaphoric, multidimensional seeds of mastery, they zing out of the ground and they go into the field, they go around the world, and it makes a difference. It makes a difference. This is the invitation for you right now, to conceptualize, taking something that came with you, that you know you brought. This is the seed of magnificence, of mastery. And you decide, I'm going to plant it now. See yourself pushing it into the ground, covering it with the soil, watering it, and up starts coming something beautiful. Perhaps the first thing you hear is music. Maybe you feel the benevolence of your guides hugging you and the kindness pouring into your heart, perhaps that you've needed all along. And you start feeling a change in you, in your body, in how you think. Welcome to the shift. Welcome to the change I told you about that you came here for. You're the ones. It's here, it's time. You're the ones. This is why I told my partner to start this show. It's for the time. This particular streaming episode, all of this, designed for you, the ones who would watch this kind of a show and be the members in this kind of a show, an organization, a program, are the very ones, the old souls with the seeds. I am Cryon, in love with humanity. And so it is.
And yet again, another beautiful message from Cryon. And allow some time to bring your awareness back into your body. If you've had those beautiful, precious eyes of yours closed, I invite you to open your eyes. And as you bring your awareness back into your body and your attention and focus back to us here in the studio, we are about to connect with a woman who is so deeply connected with the energy of the earth, and we are so delighted to have this opportunity to present Brooke Medicine Eagle with us tonight. And I want to make sure the Zoom feed is working. So Brooke, are you there?
I am here, and I'm happy to be and honored.
Wow, wonderful. Well, we actually first connected with Brooke by seeing her on the Earth Keepers Summit, and we were so enamored with her teachings and her energy and everything she had to share that we just knew we wanted her on the Healing Wednesday program. So we want to tell everyone about you, Brooke.
We do. And just as Monica said, Brooke Medicine Eagle is a lover of this beautiful earth, and she has so many things going for her. She's a legendary indigenous earth keeper, a wisdom teacher, a mentor, a healer, a visionary, a singer, songwriter, shamanic practitioner, it's not hard to say fast, ceremonialist, and catalyst for wholeness. Whew. All of those things, and she really is. She's also the author of the American Native literary classic Buffalo Woman Comes Singing and of The Last Ghost Dance.
Brooke is a sacred ecologist with a focused interest in promoting a conscious and sensuous relationship to all life and to living a harmonious, regenerative lifestyle. The primary ongoing resonance of her Eagle Song work promotes a heart-centered, ecologically sound, healing way for the flowering of individuals, Mother Earth, and all our relations. Over the last 45 years, her many music recordings, teachings, writings, conference appearances, and wilderness spiritual retreats have touched the hearts and minds of people internationally. Her offerings truly are empowering, enlightening, and very supportive of your best self and offering to the world.
Now, Brooke now resides in the beautiful Four Corners area of southwest Colorado, inviting you to join her in the mountain beauty, ancient ruins, and sacred sites, so plentiful there. Brooke, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I will tell you right now, the first thing, I'm going to turn you loose on it, but a little bit about yourself and how all this happened. I know you've been doing this for a while.
Or even a welcoming prayer, as you often do. That would be wonderful.
I would love that.
All right. I'm going to do an offering prayer, and we'll go from there. I have a little bit of smudge going here and a beautiful eagle feather. So across this time and space in which we are totally connected, I send a prayer for clarity. I ask that I be a hollow bone to bring through, Creator, Mother, Father, your wisdom, your healing, the true healing and true love. And so on this good day, we begin connected with each other, in love with each other, and doing this for all our relations. Ho, Mitakuyasan. Hey, 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 hey. Hey ya ya, hey ya ho hi ya, hey ya ya, hey ya ho hi ya, hey ya ya, hey ya ho hi ya, hey ya ho hi ya, hey ya hey ya hi ya. So, all right, I was born and raised in the backcountry of the Crow Reservation in Montana. We had no running water. We had no electricity. We had no cars most of the time. We had a ranch with horses and cattle. And so I many times remember going to town to the little Indian village 10 miles away in a buggy. So I have expanded a lot of experience, including the hippie days in San Francisco when I was just sort of waking up to a whole other level of life. So I've really been called, and I think the call came from the fact that I would, I was on the land and with the animals all the time when I was a child. And I would get on a good little horse and go up the deer trails, up through the aspen groves, into the high mountain country and spend all of that time. And I fell in love with this earth. this exquisitely, incredibly beautiful earth. And the clear springs that came down out of that country. And so I know that I'm here for the Mother Earth and all our relations, not just for humans. We're such a small part of the life here. So I'm here for the earth, and I'm just joyful to be here speaking for her, to be a voice for the earth and for all our relations.
And tell us then about the arising feminine that is also part of your work. And I love you said that you're part of the earth, and we all feel earth is Mother Earth. It's a feminine energy, and please share that with us.
Well, when I woke up this morning, I had this thought, and I wanted to say this initially before I forget it and lose track, because I want to talk about the feminine and its usefulness, its benefit for all people, including men. And what I wanted to point out is that when Lee drops away from himself, goes incredibly deep in this profound place of receptivity, making a space into which Cryon comes, it actually gives me chills. That is the feminine. That is the feminine. And all the activity and the moving and all that's so incredible in the masculine is absolutely wonderful. But what we say in our culture, in the indigenous and primary people, is that a true man is one who does his work, puts it out there, handles it, does all the masculine, and does it in service of the people, which is the feminine, the nurturing of the people. So thank you for that modeling. I really appreciate it.
As you are describing that, to me, it really emphasizes the importance of the balance of the masculine and the feminine. So yeah. I have a feeling that's part of your teachings as well.
Very much so. And part of it is that we've been in the patriarchy for 4,000 or 10,000 years or something. And so it's really about bringing that balance back. It's not about, the feminine is the only thing. No, the feminine needs to come up to balance. In some of the teachings, it said that one wing has been working, and that's the masculine. And now as we're coming into this new time, the second wing is able to open, and so that great bird of life can fly absolutely and glide beautifully. So what's interesting is that I think it was around 1993, the elders of indigenous traditions around the world handed the wands of power to the grandmothers and said, this is your time. This is the time of the feminine. And I didn't even understand what all that meant at that time. And I think one of our challenges is that we have been in a very masculine way of being. Even women now have gone out and accomplish and achieve and get going, and then we have to go home and work. And so there's a lot of the masculine, some of it very damaging and difficult. But we have that, we were raised like that. We went to school, we've worked, women have not, most of you, I don't think, received the teachings of the women's mysteries from your mothers and your grandmothers. And that lineage has been lost in the way. So we're having to go deep into our meditations and our own, the coding within our own being to bring forth the feminine again. So the feminine, and I was taught this so strongly in the Cheyenne Sacred Lodge of the Buffalo Hat, where they say the feminine is the nurturing and renewing power. The feminine is the nurturing and renewing power. And if there's anything we need on earth right now, it's the nurturing of life and renewing of life, because I know you all know it, but we're in the 6th great extinction. We have, as a human family, had a big hand in the dying away, losing 50% of our earth family. 50%. So we're absolutely the thing. Even the Dalai Lama says that the women, the feminine is what will make the difference. So we need to wake up that part of ourselves. And one of the things I like to say briefly as well, and I love to teach about this and take you on this journey, but what is understood is that in the beginning was a great void. There was nothing made manifest, real in the world like we think of it. But what was there was the great womb of the feminine, with the seeds and the dreams and the eggs of everything that would ever be and is now, on and on. So when the great mother love called the father light, that kind of lightning energy, aliveness, wakefulness, movement, all of that energy, when she called that into the womb of the beginning of things, the source of things, when she called that aliveness in, absolute passion and creativity came about, and the birthing of the worlds, universe after universe after universe. And that one of the really powerful things to remember is that womb, that great, plush, deep, dark place of stillness, that is the beginning. That is your source. Then coming out of that into your life, you've been given eternal life. So that feminine, which is about nurturing, connecting, gifting. Think of a mother. A mother gifts automatically to that child. And gifting then is the way the economy works in the feminine. The economy is not about competing and getting enough and making, I wonder if there is enough. It's about saying, okay, we're all coming together. Everyone has their own offering, and we will continue to gift. The mother says, of course, I continue to gift to my children. Doesn't matter whether they're 10 or 30 or 50. It's a gifting. And everyone has that energy of giving what others need. And of course, when all of you are giving what others need, I'm getting what I need. Whether it's a little bit, maybe in a time of challenge, or absolute abundance at the Thanksgiving table. Everyone has the opportunity to have what they need. And in that being loved and feeling safe, then I believe is when our finest gifts come out into the world. We can really show ourselves. We're seen for who we are. And we also have the power and energy to step forward into the world offering our gifts. And the other thing on the other side of that is I feel like when we don't have that nurturing mother, gifting, caring, you're okay, you're held, I see you kind of energy, when we don't have that, I think we are nervous. We're used to, in the human family, extended family of about 24 people, we're right there all the time. That was your safety net. That was your connection, your fun, your love, your beauty, all of that. And without that, and as alone as we are these days, and not maybe feeling that love of the feminine around, surrounding us in the world, I think we can get greedy. It's like, well, I don't think there's anybody to take care of me, so I better get as much as I can. Maybe there's enough, but I need to get what I need and keep it and store it and have plenty. But when we're in that loving embrace of the Great Mother and we can drop back in, I mean, what I invite you to do for the thing I'm saying, do a little practice is an enormous practice. And that is to drop back into not doing, into not needing to know, into wondering, into quietness. Absolutely making yourself like a vessel, a bowl, to which everything is cleared out. You have to let go of your personality. Let go of it all. Drop back into the plushness, the total wisdom and richness of the Great Mother's womb. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to know anything. Just need to open into that receptive nature, lying in the plush, full experience of everything. In the womb of the Great Mother is everything that's ever been or will be, the dreams that you want to make real. All of that is there, so you can be nourished. You can be stewed in it, to rest in it and be nourished. And then, and this is a piece I want to drop in, and I can teach on for days, is that when women on the dark of the moon, during their menstrual time, gathering together and praying, when they do that 4 days that women need off to do their deep work, the women go into resting because they've been on 24/7, 7 days a week, to rest in those 4 days of the dark of the moon, and to receive from the most receptive the human being ever is, the feminine in her most feminine time, connecting to the womb of the Great Mother, to bring through, to bring forth into the world solutions, ideas, inventions, seeing, prophecy, whatever it might be that is needed by the people. Because that is the prayer in the deep moon lodge, is, Grandmother, Father, let me find and bring forward into my world what's needed for my people. And so deep and wise visionaries were created that way. Women going into that moon lodge, 13 times a year, 26, 39, 52, before you're 20 years old. You've vision quested 4 days, hundreds of times, sitting with women who've done that thousands of times. And so the feminine wisdom begins to grow. And when you're a grandmother, when you're in the wisdom lodge, the women in moon pause, your attention and your love extends to the whole circle of life, not just the children at your skirts, not just the little ones. They're grown. And now your focus then and your charge, your promise is to take care of the whole circle of life. And so that feminine wisdom way gets set in the ground. And an interesting thing is, then when you step out of that moon lodge, you make an offering. That's the more yang side of it, the masculine side. And let's say that some of these gals that are incredibly powerful seers, maybe several of them at a time, realize that they've seen that it's going to be a hard winter. They immediately go to the chief, who's the executor. He's the action man. They go and say, we have seen that it's going to be a hard winter. It's time to prepare. And he said, you bet it is. And begins to prepare his people, even in the summertime, prepare them for that hard winter. So the seeing is so powerful. And in a way, that's kind of that's what's missing out of our government. Lee was mentioning earlier that Cryon invited the UN to have an Indigenous council, a wisdom council. And that's what's so missing in government. We've got the money man and the judges and lawyers, but on the other side, there was always a sage. And so that sage energy is what's there. And do you know that when they were forming the Constitution, they modeled it after the Iroquois. And the Iroquois had 2 houses of government. And one of them, the Senate, was the grandmothers, the wisdom women comprise the Senate.
I feel all of what you were just sharing applies to Earth and humanity in this time of great shift and change, which has been prophesied by the Indigenous. And the phrase you used, going to the chief, it's going to be a hard winter. We need to prepare. And the chief saying, yes, we know. I feel that is where humanity is right now. It's going to be a hard winter. And that to me is the metaphor right now, that it's a shift in consciousness and we are having more awareness than ever before. And the ones who are not are objecting. The ones that keep the ways of being in that survival, greed, fear, lower consciousness. And so what can we all do in that role of the seer wise woman now coming to humanity to say, hey, it's going to be a hard winter? How do you see that bridge working with the work you do?
You know, that's a tough one in a way, but just speaking about all these things feels really so important. And just the ability to see what's coming and to talk about it and share about it and ask to be prepared. And, you know, we're right down to the nitty gritty here. We're down to the hour. My elders say that we don't have much more than 20 years to until we are asked to leave the earth. It's like take a time out and leave the earth because we're being destructive. So it's interesting to speak about these things, you know, because when a train's coming, it's like kind of bad news to say, hey, I think you'd be dead in a couple of minutes if you don't get off the track. And it's the thing we need to do is to say, wake up, wake up, wake up. And here's the thing. You were talking about people in a survival mode, and I understand that we are that in a way. But what you got to get is that survival is about getting back in tune with the earth and in harmony with things and renewing and nurturing and regenerating the life that is on the tree that you stand on top of. You knock the bottom out of that and it's gone for you. You'll feel lonesome with no birds. We've killed most of the insects and now the birds are dying and the little lizards in the backcountry don't have anything to eat. So we need to wake up really quickly. And the thing is, we're not, it's like Joni Mitchell, put in a parking lot, pave and putting in a parking lot. That's not what we're being asked to do. We're being asked to have clean water and pure air and sunshine and health for our children and our animals and this richness, the green, exquisite beauty that the Mother Earth is. She's blue. She was blue-green, and now she's browning, turning brown. So we're, in a sense, we're being asked to head toward heaven, like help recreate the heaven that we were given. And so we are going to be challenged. It's like we need to wake up because this is such an incredible planet. And if you don't like it, if you don't want to care for it, if you don't want to be good to it, if you don't want to enjoy it, if you don't want to revere it and honor it, all of it, from the littlest insect to the greatest mountain, then I guess you get to go somewhere else. I've been told that there's a planet for that, the Mother Earth, and we know this through prophecy, and our understanding is that the Mother Earth is no longer going to be the school for this kind of destruction. She gets to step up to a new level of light and beauty and possibility and richness. And the school for what we've been dealing with here is on another planet. She called it Teleron. So the thing you need, and I want to say this, I want you to look you right in the eyes and say this, what we need to be willing to have is everything absolutely exquisitely beautiful, harmonious, sweet, kind, caring, positive, nurturing. We need to be willing to have that and to do that and to be that in the world, or we will not fit here anymore. So everything you can do, from taking those dryer sheets that are killing all the insects and the bees out of your laundry, getting rid of some of that chemical stuff and touching back in, putting your feet on the ground, barefoot on the ground and getting connected again, stopping all the pesticides and all of that are going on that are ruining our food and killing everything in the cycle of life and us, our children, our animals. We need to step up a little bit. And the thing is, when we do it together, which is another aspect of the feminine, when we step up together, we have enormous power to say, I will not spend my money on that. I will not shop here when this is this. I will put my energy into things that work. And when enough of us do that, companies have to change. Things have to shift, and especially when we find all of the incredibly amazing things people have brought through. We have free energy. We have such possibility for richness, ease, grace, beauty, fresh air, clean air, sunshine, happiness, that I'm just inviting us to choose that, to do the work it takes. Because I love this earth. I'm here, and I want us all to be able to stay here in a beauty way. So I don't know how much time I have left, but I want to sing a song at the end.
I think this is a beautiful time to do that.
Wonderful timing, yes.
All right. Well, I'm just really thrilled to be connecting with you, connecting with all of you, Lee and Monica and everyone, because that's what's happening and that's what works, is to put this energy together and to work together. So I'd love to share with you all the things that I'm offering in the world, especially some powerful things for women right now. And I want to sing this song for you. That's a song that came down from the grandmothers of this continent. And so I guess they call it a women's healing song. And so just close your eyes, let yourself drift into that feminine space a little bit. That place you kind of drop off into when you're with Cryan, and that kind of quieter place. And just sense that I'm putting my hand on your heart. And through me, from the grandmothers and the ancestors who love you and who love this earth, this song comes. Na be hai, na be hai, na be hai, na be hai, hele kahe lang ku, hele kahe lang ku, na be no. May all our hearts be blessed.
Thank you, dearest Brooke
great.
Medicine Eagle. We truly do have blessed hearts right now in this moment. And what I want to do is invite everyone to continue carrying that energy that you just received into the break that we are going to take. We are out of time with Brooke, but carry that energy with you.
And don't forget to go to medicineeagle.com, and you'll hear more about her and see many things that she has. Such wisdom and a wonderful end to this interview. So great to have you, Brooke. Thank you so much.
Love you all.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, from break. Thank you, Brooke, so much for all of that wisdom, what you have to say, your work, your connection with the elders, the whole thing, your life, 45 years doing what you're doing. You really are an earth keeper. Thank you.
Yeah, we love you, Brooke. I think for me, I love that feeling that she brings of connecting with the earth, connecting with the ancestors. That's kind of my element too, where I just love being in Gaia.
And the emerging feminine. This is what Kryon has talked about for so long, about the shamans of the past as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
well, it is, again, time to do what we're calling miracle moments. This program you're watching right now is about healing. So we really want to honor all of those of you who really need a healing right now in whatever form. And we're inviting you to participate in this week's Miracle Moments, where all of us can come together to help others and ourselves. I'd like to ask Monica to again explain how this works. And we know that together we can create the right energy at the right time for those ready to receive it.
So in your portal, there is a place in there called Miracle Moments, and that is where you can submit a request for healing and energy to be sent to you or someone you love, but also it's a place where you can view the list of those who have made the requests. A while back, Kryon said that it's not important to have your name on that list because the quantum energy works in a way that everyone is included, and even those who are the future names to go onto that list, they are included as well. But I still like to take a look at the list and just scan through the names that have been placed on there, and together we're going to connect in with an energy to target a love missile, a compassion missile, a benevolence missile, to go into the field and to explode down onto all of those people who are requesting our help, wanting us to send them love, prayers, and energy. And so I invite you to close your eyes and take a moment to ponder how many old souls are joining with you now in this moment. We are creating our own unique field of coherence and intention to send energy to those who need it. And so feel that connection with your family, soul, family members joining with you. And the purpose of us coming together means that our intention is amplified. And in that amplified field of love and benevolence and compassion, it's going to send a bubble around all of those needing it. Those on the list in the past, present, and future. And all those on the planet right now who are in need of our love and prayers. Trust that this energy that we created together has gone to those who need it. And be aware that this energy can never be destroyed. It is always going to exist, where there's always that love that we have put out there, reaching into the far corners of the planet, always present. And those who request it, just acknowledge it's already been sent. And so there's nothing more to do. And we just allow ourselves to relax and welcome in the message from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon. Come a little closer. The circle of 12 this week is an extension of not only the channel of this week, but of the Circle of 12 and the channel from last week. Dear ones, when we come to you in this way, we see you. We see that which is happening in the consciousness. We see a lot of things that go on as you watch these kinds of things, even in what you call the afterwatch or the replay. It's all the same to us. Did you know that? The group who is watching and listening and feeling and having the coherence of the moment includes all of those who will watch later. Now that I give for those who are watching now, who wonder about that. It all comes together as one focal point of watching for us. And that is the way multidimensional things work. Not explainable to you. Only because you're not in a multidimensional reality in everyday life. So the invitation has always been in the Circle of 12 to change that. With consciousness being the vehicle of reality, you are going to go again from one place to another, and your body is staying here. We presented yet again last week the reinforcement of the idea of what is real and not real. When your consciousness, your intent, and that which you carry from your soul decide to then go somewhere else for a moment or two, the out-of-body experience, you might say, doesn't have to be that which you've read about or others have experienced in an old energy. It can be normal for you. That is part of the new normal. For you to be in two places at once, enjoying that which you have now, the temperature of your room, perhaps those who you're around, if you're with anyone, the enjoyment of the coherence that you're feeling, even as a human in your body. Your consciousness can lift out of that, go across the bridge with me, but it stays where it is with you as well. You are in two places at the same time. Very doable, very understanding. Very, I would say, in agreement with the laws of physics and entanglement and all the other terms that you have decided to assign to these kinds of things. Your consciousness is beautiful. It is the consciousness you carry when you came in. It's the consciousness you got from your soul. All of these things to give you a better understanding of the reality that is here. This is needed. It's needed for you to then be able to do what is that you came for. What is it that you're here for? And some will say, well, I just enjoy the feeling. Bless you so much for that. Because that means you're getting it. You fully understand that through the delivery of this channeling or this meditation or whenever I come to you in this way, whatever it is, when it's delivered, there is energy that comes to you which is benevolent and beautiful. I would hope that it would open that window in your pineal so for a few moments you would glimpse the magnificence of everything that you are, everything around you, the human design that you are, of carrying a soul and a patterning of beauty from the other side of the veil. There are those who will watch this, and perhaps those who will in the future or aren't now, who may be new to all this. And they'll say, I don't know what you're talking about, Cryon. I will say this yet again. You come here magnificent, and everything else that you think has happened to you, or that you are, or that you think you are, or you've been told you are, comes from this planet, not from spirit. When we go to that which is your soul today. We go to that same room, and we're going to go there in a moment. And you're going to meet that same guide set, personified in one human being. We haven't given a name. Perhaps there isn't one. Or perhaps you have given a name. This is so personal. When you meet this, would you say, entity or person, what makes this personal when you meet them yet again, and you're about to, is that they are you. We gave you some channelings recently that you can find in this series about guides, about the attributes of the guides. They are part of your soul, dear ones. What this means, they come in with you. But more than that, they are you. Now some will say, wait a minute. Are they a part? Are they guides, or are they me? And the answer is yes. Get used to it. You have attributes of yourself which are you. You have parts of your body that are you. Are you disturbed with that? You say, well, it's a liver. It's a part for me. Or is it me? Yes, it's both. And the guides work that way, except there is one aspect that I will remind you of. Oh, it's a beautiful one. These angels, these guides, whatever you want to call them, that come with you from birth, that you acknowledge or don't, are the same ones every single lifetime you've ever had anywhere. In other words, they're part of your soul. Can you conceive of a soul that has multiple parts that work together as one? And if you say, well, I'm not sure I can, let's go back to the body. Can you conceive of a human body with multiple parts that act as one? Well, of course, that's you. Well, now apply it metaphysically, if you wish, spiritually, if you wish, to a soul that has many parts. And when you arrive on this planet, you can't linearize it. Your guides are you. They're the helpers that stand apart from you, but they are you, waiting for you to acknowledge they're there. And that, my dear ones, is called free choice. What a beautiful system this is. Have you taken advantage of it? And there are some who say, I wish I knew how. So let's review that. It's a good review. They stand apart from you, waiting for you to acknowledge them. And you say you don't know how. How about this one? Dear guides, I acknowledge you. You say, it can't be that simple. Oh, yes, it can. Do you have the purity of intent? What that means is you're not doing it casually. You mean it. And you sit down and you would say, all my life I felt alone. Crine says, I'm not. It's printed everywhere. In Crine books, you're not alone. And in order not to be alone and not to feel alone, all it takes is a full and complete intentional acknowledgement of the love of those who came with you. Dear guides, dear angels, dear spirit, I sit here and I want you in my life. Start slowly, but show you. I want to show you. I mean it. I want you to show me you're there. And in that, you start a process. And it's going to be a process that's not overwhelming. Your guides are part of you. They know what you can see or not see or sense or not sense. You're not going to miss it. They're going to do things that will get your attention. That's what they did with my partner. That's what I did with my partner, because I knew who he was. And I got his attention through his own process. That's how you do it. So let's go there now, across the bridge, to meet this beautiful guide set and see what they have. You might already know, for it was already spoken in tonight's channel. Come across the bridge with me. Take my hand. Oh, together we walk across this bridge in joy, not in apprehension, crossing through that mist. It's a concept, dear ones. You don't even have to visualize it. You don't have to visualize love. You feel it. And in this, you feel complete. This is you. This is the soul. And you leave those issues and problems, fears, disappointments, all of that behind. And you are here in a place where you are dearly loved by so much of what you call the universe. That which is God, that which is spirit, embracing you as you step into this land that is your home, that is your soul. And you go into this room through that door. Not really a door, just a space that you move through, and there it is. It's a metaphor for moving from one place to another, and you see again that beautiful guide set smiling at you. Whether it's a male or a female, it doesn't matter, and they say, welcome back. Dear ones, do you see anything different in the room? Now remember the first time you were there, and this is for those who may have missed last week's Circle of 12. There's a shelf, and on the shelf there are containers. And last week you saw this for the first time, this beautiful, beautiful entity who is with you all of the time, who is personified right now by what I will call the 3 into 1. All of your guides, or angels if you want to call it that, are in the one entity before you, smiling, loving you, holding out their arms in welcome, and saying, I have things for you. Here are the seeds. It's time to activate them. But last week, if you were able in your mind to see the shelf, it only had a few containers. They all had certain kinds of names of what the seeds might be. You chose the certain ones for last week. You might assume you're going to change and have other ones for this week, and you're right. Except the number of containers on the table has increased. And you say to this beautiful guide set, you say to those who you know so well, how is it that there are so many more of them now? Dear one, I'll answer your question. You took seeds from this shelf last week. You put them into the ground. You activated them here with me. We stayed a while. You felt it, and you took them home, and you planted them in your life. I told you in the channel that as you plant them, they harvest in real time. And whatever the concept was that you start to plant becomes you. And the reason why there are so many more today is because the harvest is working in your life. You'll have better choices today on the shelf than you had before. What a concept. That already 1 week you'll have new things to look at, new choices to make. So you start looking at the shelf, and your guides say, dear one, choose. What is it that comes to you that you would like? And you look at all of the containers, and one starts to glow. That's the one. And as soon as it does, it has a label. You selected this one without knowing what the label would be. Now that, my dear ones, is called intuition. You selected the right one. You kind of saw it, and it sensed and talked to you, and it glowed a little. And here comes the label. Are you ready? You already know what it is. Mastery. Now, what does that mean to you? It's a concept you're ready for, that you are going to take with you. Take the seeds with you, and you're going to start planting them in your life. You're going to activate them now with this guide set who stays with you, who hugs you and holds you, who somehow in your own method or visualization puts them to a place in you that is sacred and beautiful, and you'll take it home with you. And when you get there, you're going to start planting that mastery and everything it means. It's going to change your life, the lives who are with you and around you, and go into the field. Mastery has so many attributes and concepts attached to it. And we have told you what they were. Go find them if you wish. But it's time for the light on the planet. And you are the light. You'll come back from this circle of 12. A circle of 12 is a lighthouse. One who starts to harvest what you're planting right now in your chair. That's who you are, dear ones. That's the beauty of what happens in this, a real place for you. Stay, activate those seeds, put them into you. They will not dwindle or diminish or get old. I'm crying in love with you. Stay. And so it is.